We are back at Welcome Home. Thanks again for joining us. We're going to kind of switch gears a lot. We're not talking housing. We're not talking cabinets. We're not talking builders or anything else today. We're going to kind of switch gears a little bit, but something I think that is very important and I think you guys will be very interested in. I've actually got some friends with me here today, Melissa and Mike Vogel, and they've had a very nice honor bestowed upon them for an event that is coming up here very, very soon. So we thought we'd get them in and talk a little bit and catch up a little bit and see what's going on. So thanks for coming in, you guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
You betcha. And we should probably explain a little bit because this is kind of a little bit hold home week here.
Absolutely.
Mike, actually, for anybody who remembers Welcome Home, the television show, as opposed to the radio show, Mike was very responsible for being a big part of editing and shooting and audio and making Sherry look as good as she was going to look on all of this kind of stuff. Along came Melissa. They got married. I got to go to the wedding. And it's been... How long now? How many
Almost
years?
8 years.
Yeah. 8 years? Oh, my goodness. Melissa, how'd you put up with him this long?
I don't know.
She's thinking about that, Mike. She's thinking about that.
Very patient.
I'm a lucky girl.
There you go. He's a good boy. He's a good boy on that kind of stuff. So, but along came, somewhere along in those 8 years, along came some twins.
Yep, that was a big shock.
A boy and a
Huge
girl.
surprise.
Yeah,
Yes.
and to see Mike with two little babies, that was a shock too, wasn't it, Michael?
And little babies they were, Sherry.
Yes, they were. Yes, they were. So that's kind of what we want to talk about a little bit here today, besides the fact that it's just good to see everybody. They've actually been named the March of Dimes Ambassador Family for the March for Babies, which is coming up, what day, Mike?
It's coming up May 10th, Saturday,
Okay.
May 10th.
Okay. So you've been appointed as this March of Dimes Ambassador Family. What does that mean? Why?
That means we
Why? This is where you can tell the rest of the story, Melissa.
Oh, we've had quite a journey. Like Meg said, we found out quite early on in our pregnancy that we had a big surprise. We had two babies coming, not one. And at our 20-week appointment, found out we were having some issues, that our baby B, who was our daughter, was not growing properly. So we were told we needed to expect an early delivery.
And Mom had to go on some bed rest, didn't
Yes,
she?
yeah. We were told worst case scenario 28, hoping for 34. At 25 weeks, we didn't get the greatest news, and I went into the hospital where we hoped to stay for 15 weeks, and we made it 2.
Yeah.
So they were born at 27 weeks.
Just barely 27 weeks.
Surprise, surprise. So they were little babies.
They
weren't
were
Mike?
little. Our Logan, our son,
Yeah.
was 2 pounds, 14 ounces, and Caroline, our daughter, was exactly 1 pound.
Wow.
She was the size of an iPhone.
Oh my goodness, Melissa.
She was
oh
teeny
my
tiny.
goodness. So obviously that meant some challenges ahead, right?
That was a
Challenges and opportunities, we're going to say both, though, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
We spent quite a long time, 138 days in the Mercy NICU. Up
And I
there.
know you guys always say thank you to the bosses that allowed you to be gone from your
Very much
jobs.
so. We
and
had very
all of those
understanding
kind of
employers.
things. Melissa is with
Hy-Vee.
Mike is with Professional Video.
That is true.
So we should say thank you to them because, again,
Absolutely.
without bosses like that, it's tough, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Very.
Yeah.
Without bosses, without family, without
Yep.
friends,
Yep.
the support. And that's part of what brings us back to the March of Dimes was the support we got, the
Right.
educational materials, the resources that were available. We got so much from everybody and everything that this is a way we can give back.
Absolutely. A good reason to be a part of it. And it's nice that they knew you were involved, and it's nice that you got awarded this, too. So, Melissa, tell me a little bit about what some of those challenges were. I mean, were you here at the hospital? How long did the babies have to stay?
We had quite a journey. To describe it as a roller coaster probably isn't accurate enough for the ups and downs, especially when you have two. Very rarely does
one could be up and one could be down.
Absolutely. That's generally always the case. So we spent 3 months in the NICU with Logan and 4.5 with Caroline. And we spent a long time on ventilators that were giving them 900 breaths a minute.
Wow.
A lot of brain scans, holes in our heart, all kinds of things that you just never expect to have happen to you.
Right. Let alone to your wonderful babies.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the hard part. You know, it's not happening to you, it's happening to them.
Yeah. Well,
It's got to be hard, Dad.
It is hard, especially because you have a picture-perfect idea of what pregnancy and babies are going to be. And Melissa had to wait a week and a day to hold Logan for the first time, and she had to wait almost 2 weeks to hold Caroline because they couldn't move him out of the isolate on the ventilator. So
Right.
We would go
You
through.
know.
We would also go through weeks without being able to hold them due to the ventilators they were on. So
Yeah.
And I'm sure there was a lot of it that you have to be very, very careful because you don't want them catching anything.
Oh,
you don't want the
yeah.
germs. I mean, there's
absolutely
hands-off kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. You can't things you don't think about. You can only touch them. You can't pat them or
Yeah.
rub them. It's just too much stimulus for
Exactly.
them.
So how did things progress here? I know Logan actually came home before Caroline did, right?
Logan came home before Caroline
Right.
did. He grew well and great.
Now I hear he's a superhero.
He
He
is.
is.
Yeah.
Superhero Logan.
And that is the positive side of the story, Sherry, is that now we have two happy, healthy 3-year-olds
Right.
that, while behind the curve growth-wise, are doing just absolutely fantastic.
Right.
And
The
that's,
NICU doctors had told us that it was amazing they were alive, let alone both healthy. So we've
boy.
been very blessed.
So every time a birthday comes along, you're feeling
absolutely,
really great, aren't you?
absolutely, we definitely feel that, and we also we took the ambassadorship with a little bit of the knowledge that there are people out there that didn't have as storybook a tale as
Support
we
system,
did,
you bet.
and they didn't have the support. They didn't have even the outcome that we have,
Mm-hmm.
and they have kids with issues that they have to deal with for the rest of their lives.
Right.
And that's why it's so important to us to go back to help people like the March of Dimes, because they offer so much support for those people that either can't get it or just need it, and it's not out there without the March of Dimes.
Exactly. And how did you guys find out about all those services and all the things that the March of Dimes was going to be able to provide for you? Does that end up just being that this is our situation and they just magically appear, or how did that work?
When you walk into the NICU, you go to college again. There's a whole learning curve.
I bet.
And there are,
But I know you guys said the folks were wonderful.
They were amazing.
They really are, and the support that they provide and the support that they are given by organizations like the March of Dimes and Variety Club and all that offers a lot to parents who are in that situation,
Right.
Which is, it's wonderful,
Yeah.
and it truly was a blessing for us to be able. We couldn't do anything for our kids at the time. We're sitting there for a week on end, not
Yeah.
being able to really do anything. We could get information, and we
Right.
could absorb the information.
And it's a
then
foreign
educate.
concept. It's not something you've been through.
Right.
So
Yeah.
even
You need all the information you can get.
yeah,
don't
they
you?
bring you a binder on bed rest, and it tells you even if your baby's born at 25 weeks, what's it going to look like?
Here's the things to expect.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, which is very helpful.
And how are the kids now? I mean,
Oh, they're
everybody's
amazing.
everybody's happy and sassy, and
Oh.
are they all acting like him, Melissa?
They are very much.
And they
Yes,
mouth it back
they're
to you once in a
stubborn.
while,
Preemies.
huh? And
Caroline,
stubborn.
Caroline
yeah.
came up to me and said that I'm the boss just the other day.
Oh, well,
and
there
she
you
was
go.
Not
talking
you,
about
her.
herself. Yeah,
Yes.
she said her.
She's the boss.
I hear she's like going through that princess phase too.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yes.
her name is Princess. Is not Caroline any
Is everything
longer.
pink and purple?
Yes.
and all of that
Everything,
stuff too.
yes.
So we have the Cape Crusader and a
Tutus
princess
and-
at home now.
Absolutely.
But that's wonderful. That's
Yes.
wonderful. Tell me a little bit, and then we'll get to a break here pretty soon, and we're going to get Shonda in because we want to find out a little bit more about the organization.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about what's going on with the walk. It's actually going to be on Saturday, May 10th.
Yes.
And it's out at DMAC.
It is out at
My
DMAC.
neck of
at
the woods.
Yeah, it's out in Ankeny at the DMAC campus. It's about a 2.5 mile walk. So I, in my state, I'm not going to be able going to make it halfway and then I'll stop.
There
I'm
you
just
go.
kidding. No, it's a very easy walk.
Says walk, Mike.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's not a run. For people that want more information about it, it's marchforbabies.org.
Okay.
Or they can call the office at 515-243-2244.
Okay.
And
Registration's at 8:30. It looks like the walk begins at 9:30. That's
Yes.
not so early on a Saturday
No, it's
morning.
perfect.
Everybody
It's
can make
perfect.
that. And obviously, this is a big fundraiser.
Yes.
Right? So, how do people get involved on that part of things? Are they, per mile, or can you get a team? Or
The idea is to set up a team. The
Okay.
idea is to set up a team, or they can join our team. If you're just interested in donating,
Vogel
you
team?
can join
Sure.
the Vogel team. They can find out information about us at thevogeltwins.blogspot.com.
Excellent.
That's our team. Or on the marchforbabies.org site, they can sign up and set up their own team.
Oh, wow.
Set a goal for how much they want to fundraise and go out and ask their friends and family, neighbors, coworkers. A lot of companies do matching donations, so
Oh,
it's
sure.
a great way. If you raise $10, you get $10 free from your company. Set up a team and come out and walk. Last year we had
Walk,
just
how easy can that be,
Oh,
right?
well, you had
Yeah.
2,000 people came out
I'm
last
just
year.
going to ask, how many last year? What are you thinking this year?
We think we can get 3,000.
Wow.
And that's just from my friends.
Oh, now this
No.
is the mic that I miss, Melissa. Maybe we'll have to get that TV show
pretty
going. I miss
confident.
that every week.
No, I think especially we're due some nice weather, Sherry.
Yeah.
We are definitely
Sooner
due
or
some nice
later.
weather. So I think it's going to be a gorgeous weekend. I think we're going to have a ton of people out there, and it's going to be a great time for a great cause.
Absolutely. And again, on your website too, they can get kind of the whole backstory. We've got lots of fun
Absolutely.
pictures, and it is interesting to kind of follow along. And maybe for some folks that maybe are going through some of that, might be kind of inspirational too to see that there is a good success story at the end of all of that tale too.
Yeah.
So let's take a quick little break here, and when we come back, we're gonna get Shonda in here. You brought her along from the March of Dimes to
Yes.
talk about that, and we'll talk a little bit more about the walk. Okay?
Sounds great.
All right. We'll take a quick little break here at Welcome Home. We'll be right back. We are back here at Welcome Home. Thanks again for being with us this Saturday. We appreciate it as always. We're kind of changing gears here a little bit from something that we usually do. We're actually talking about the March of Dimes, and they've got an event that's coming up. It is called March for Babies. It's going to happen Saturday, May 10th out at DMAC, 9:30 walk, and all for a good cause. My friends Mike and Melissa Vogel have had some intimate experience with the March of Dimes. They've had some twins that experienced some early issues. They just couldn't wait to come out, could they, Melissa? They just
they wanted to
couldn't
make
wait.
an early entrance.
That's right. Just waiting for you there. So you guys obviously got a lot of support from the March of Dimes, and you're nice enough to bring along Shonda Hirschberger, who is the division director for March of Dimes. Shonda, thanks for coming. I appreciate it
Thanks
today.
for having us.
You bet. Talk to me a little bit about, because you know what? March of Dimes has been around. I think that's an organization that people recognize the name and everything, but not everybody might understand what they do. So why don't you give kind of a broad scope here?
Sure. It has been around a long time. Initially, the March of Dimes was established when polio, there was the huge outbreak, back in the 50s, and there needed to be something needed to be done.
Right.
Their essential goal or mission was to eradicate polio. So they raised funds. President Roosevelt asked for people to send their coins, their dimes, to Washington, and they just came rolling in.
Yep.
They funded research, and they found, a vaccine. So they had the polio vaccine. They actually solved what their mission was,
Right.
which most organizations don't
Yeah.
actually get to do. So
Yeah.
then they changed,
They decided,
focuses.
we solved that one. Let's solve something
Correct.
else, right?
Correct. So today we are focused on preventing preterm births, infant mortality, and birth defects. Those are our main focuses right
Okay.
now. Specifically, prematurity is such on the rise in this country. Every year there's over 500,000 babies born preterm.
Wow.
1 in 8 are preterm. In Iowa, there's over 38,000 a year that are born preterm.
seems like an awful
That's a lot. You put 8 people in a room, one of them's likely to have.
Wow.
Some people have multiple preterm. Obviously, they had 2. I had 4. It happens more than you think.
My
so
goodness.
we're trying to solve the problem.
Absolutely,
basically.
absolutely. And so, how is March of Dimes going about that? I mean, obviously, I would think one of the things is research.
Research,
Yep.
which takes money. So our largest
Which gets us back to the walk one
yes,
more
which
time.
gets us to the walk. Our largest annual fundraiser across the country is March for Babies.
Right. So this happens across the country.
Yes, there are walks
Everywhere.
everywhere.
Okay.
There are walks everywhere from spring through early summer. Ours
Cool.
is May 10th. And like Mike said, we are hoping to have 3,000 walkers there this year. Maybe 3,001 because Mike's bringing all his friends. So,
Yeah, exactly.
we'll see.
It'll be that one that'll push
Yes.
them over the edge.
Yes.
Mike.
Last year we raised $250,000. This year we're hoping to raise over $300,000
Excellent.
because
Excellent.
we need the money for the research. Just one particular thing. The March of Dimes funded research that came up with the drug surfactant, which helps preemies' lungs get coated and breathe properly. Preemies' lungs can't hold air normally, and like Melissa said, they get hooked up to these ventilators and are just getting air, and
Is
they
that
can't
something you
quite
had
handle.
to
We
do
had
with
several
Melissa?
doses of it, and without it, they wouldn't have survived
Wow.
through the first couple of weeks.
Wow.
Their little lungs are like saran wrap.
Yeah.
So they stick together.
Together.
So they need the
So,
coating.
so they
in there.
need the coating in there, and their bodies just can't produce enough surfactant to do that. Which is why with the March of Dimes research, they created
Interesting.
an outside surfactant that helps the babies stay inflated with
Sure.
when they're on the high vent.
And I'm sure that's the research part of it too. I mean, we're identifying some specific things to go after, and how do we solve that problem, don't we?
When you talk about that and you talk about the money thing, that's one of the reasons we're so proud to be a part of this. Is I did a little research before we agreed to join on, and 80% of the donations goes to research, education,
Wow.
goes back in. You hear stories about other charities and big time CEOs and things
Mm-hmm. And
like
good for
that.
you for checking, because it does
it's not,
happen.
yeah, it does happen, and it's not that way. And I'm really proud to represent a company or an organization where the money given goes back in
back
and
in.
really makes a difference.
Again, that way you know where your money's going, and it's going to that good cause too. So obviously you're doing things like the education. I'm assuming, Melissa, those are things like the brochures and all that information that you were
Absolutely.
getting. Is that right?
Yep.
Other things that you do, I assume you probably got a great killer website probably, right?
We do.
Yeah.
And that gives some basic information. We also go into the hospitals, into the NICU, and, give the moms, give the nurses, give the doctors the information. So like they said, when they're sitting for days on end, weeks on end, months on end, going nowhere but looking at their child, that's the perfect time to sit back and read and educate yourselves,
Yep.
see how it's affecting you. Maybe depending on what your baby's dealing with, we can connect with where you need to go, kind of thing.
And Melissa,
So-
you said too, even when you were in bed, I mean, they wouldn't let you up. I mean, my guess is you had a lot of information that you were looking at
Absolutely.
then
and
too.
they have a lot of stories from people who have gone through this, which being in that position is really reassuring to know that there's good outcomes that a lot of people have when they have premature babies.
And don't you think sometimes it's just nice to have the information in front of you? I mean, you can't do
And
anything
it's
unless you have the
information from a
information.
credible source.
Yeah.
That was what I found really nice about it was, I mean, you can have a cough and go on the internet and find out that you have everything from
Malaria
botulism to
yeah,
malaria to
exactly,
whatever.
yeah.
When you went to some place like the March of Dimes website and it was a credible source and you knew it was well researched and they weren't just putting hyperbole out there that
Right.
something could happen, it was good information, that grounded us in a solid base of
Something you could
knowledge
trust in.
that we could really trust in. And that was really important to us when we were going through what we were.
Absolutely. Shauna, you were talking about too, one of the things is the support. And I know these guys just talked about that as well. I mean, that's just kind of being there, being supportive of those parents and those families that are going through everything.
It is, and it's just when you're expecting a normal pregnancy, maybe even your first pregnancy, and then you all of a sudden are facing bed rest and a NICU, and they prepare you ahead of time for how that's going to go. It still doesn't always go the way it's supposed
Right.
to go. It can go better, it can go worse. Just having a support group or somewhere where you can call. We also have an online support group, shareyourstory.org, that parents can get on and chat online. It's, my
Vent a
baby
little,
has
maybe.
this. Vent,
It's a little bit, I would
vent,
imagine.
rejoice when there's good things
Yeah.
that happen. So yeah.
Well, it's got to be nice that everybody else is going through it with you too. I mean, Melissa,
There's
I would
a
think that
good
you
sense
certainly
of
got that
community.
support, didn't
yeah,
you?
you don't. When you don't know a lot of people who've had premature babies, there's not a lot of places to talk to, and people who have full-term babies can't really relate. So it's
Right.
nice to know that other people out there have had that experience too.
Exactly. And obviously, Shauna, the whole advocacy part of it, I mean, it's the walk. It's all of this stuff. I mean, that really falls under that heading, doesn't it?
It does, and we just spent last Thursday at the state capitol lobbying, talking to our legislators, bringing our kids in their purple. March of Dimes is purple color.
Fun.
Letting them talk. I took my 9-year-old and I let her talk to
Sure.
the legislators. This is why we're here. This is how this affected my family.
Yeah.
Don't cut funding to things we need.
Right.
Help us with this. Just getting the word out, letting them know what we're about, because funding from programs like that is wonderful, and then funding on our side for us raising funds and research
You bet.
is
Yeah.
a huge. And we're trying to hit this $300,000 goal. I just want to point out, because Mike and Melissa aren't going to say it, they're right now last time I checked, number 9 team in the country
Whoa.
for fundraising.
You must have more than one friend then, don't you? We've been selling him short over here, Shonda. What is that?
We have
That's
very
good.
generous friends and family.
Congratulations. That is excellent. And again, it really is all about, I guess it is that whole sense of community, and everything kind of works hand in hand on all of this kind of stuff. And again, it's a long road. I know you guys had a long road. It's there's probably still issues that are there and still things that are hurdles to get over as things go along. But again, what a great organization, and wonderful that you had that support too. from 'em.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's hit, guys, one more time before we run out of time. We want to talk about March for Babies. It is May 10th. And registration is 8:30. 9:30 is the walk begins. And Mike, again, say where you can get information, or how do you sign up, or how does it all work?
If you're interested in the March of Dimes or to start a team and to
Okay.
fundraise for the March of Dimes, it's marchforbabies.org.
Okay.
All that information's on there. It's a great website, easy
Or you
to
can
get.
call the office,
You
too.
can call the office 515-243-2244.
Okay.
If you want more information about Melissa and myself and our story,
Mm-hmm.
thevogeltwins.blogspot.com
Okay.
have a look at it. It's our whole story. You can watch our videos. You can see our kids from peanut size all the way to superhero
Videos.
size.
You have videos on there?
Can you imagine?
Wow. Who did that? I can't imagine. So, and again, you know what? It's a good cause. And if you can be a part of it, go walk. If you don't want to do that, give some money and be a part of the whole thing.
Absolutely.
So, excellent. Well, guys, thank you. Mike,
No,
thanks
thank
for letting
you,
me
Sherry.
know about
We really
this. This
appreciate
is fun.
you having
I'm
us
glad
on.
to hear about this. Shonda, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for
Keep
having
these guys
us.
under control, okay?
Oh, we will.
Especially this guy
We'll
over
keep
here.
an eye on
All
Mike.
right, very good. All right, we're going to get out of here for the weekend. We hope you have a great weekend. We'll see you next weekend right here on WHO for Welcome Home.